peacekeeping force is denying having shot civilians in Democratic Republic of Congo. Also, there are warnings about the rise in racial tensions in some communities in Morocco. And we take a look at the people heading back to Africa in search of their fortune. First up, in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, M23 rebels are still camped out just north of Goma. Now, though a tense calm did return on Monday evening, rebels had been shelling the city since last week. Congolese troops, backed by UN MONUSCO forces, have been fighting back and reportedly suffered heavy casualties over the weekend. However, on Saturday, angry protesters took to Goma's streets, saying peacekeepers weren't doing enough to protect them. 2 people were killed in the rally, with some demonstrators claiming international troops opened fire on them. Now, Uruguay's president denies that his peacekeepers used anything other than rubber bullets and, in fact, accuses local police of using live ammunition in those clashes. Our observers sent us these images of crowds running from officers during Saturday's unrest. Now, earlier, I was joined from Goma by MONUSCO's spokesperson, Alexandre Essom, and I asked him about the accusations that peacekeepers had killed civilians.
Say to you, outright, MONUSCO did not shoot to the civilians. But after saying that internal investigation is still ongoing and preliminary results are still expected. But what we understand from the information that we got, we did not shoot at civilians. But what I do know, MONUSCO is still committed to its mandate of protection of civilians, including civilians in Goma. So our job on ground here is to protect civilians, not to kill civilians. And we even increased that support for the past weekend to support them in their fight against the movement of M23. The latest information I have from the field is that the situation is calm. Around 11 o'clock, 11:45, there were some small clashes that last 15 minutes. But right now, the overall situation is still calm.
Now, clashes were also reported on Monday between the Congolese army and the M23 at Kibati on the Rwandan border. Now, the renewed fightings increased tensions between Kinshasa and its neighbour. Kigali's been accused of supporting the insurgents, whilst it, in turn, says that its border villages have been bombed by DRC's army. Alex Turnbull tells us more.
Growing unrest across Rwanda's quiet countryside. Last week, the district of Rubavu, on the border with the Democratic Republic of Congo, was the target of heavy shelling.
I was feeding the cows when suddenly a bomb from the Congolese side fell right next to me. Thank God there were no victims.
No one was hurt, but tensions are now running high after fighting resumed between the Congolese army and the M23 rebels on the other side of the border. Authorities in Rwanda are saying the DRC is to blame for the attack.
We appeal to the DRC to stop these senseless and provocative acts and rather concentrate on the peace initiatives that are being fostered by the International Conference on the Great Lakes region, including the Peace and Security Framework of the United Nations.
Over in Kinshasa, the Congolese government claims the rebel movement is a proxy for Paul Kagame. Local media accuse the Rwandan president of being behind the M23 and orchestrating the latest clashes.
11 rockets were fired in 2 batches on different neighborhoods of Goma. One thing appears certain. According to the first reports by our experts, most of the rockets were coming from Rwanda.
The M23 and Kinshasa engaged in a new round of talks at the end of last year, but have failed to reach an agreement. Representatives of both the rebels and the Congolese government accuse each other of leaving the negotiating table.
Now, flash floods in South Sudan have forced tens of thousands from their homes. About 18,000 people have been forced to seek out higher ground because of the heavy rains. Now, many have been living in churches and schools as they wait for help. Aid workers are worried that the inundation could lead to deteriorating health situation, including the spread of malaria and waterborne diseases. Earlier this month, a Senegalese man was fatally stabbed in the Moroccan capital. A few weeks earlier, a Congolese teacher died after being thrown off a speeding van by police. Now, human rights workers warn that the incidents are part of a rising trend of violent and racist treatment in Morocco of sub-Saharan immigrants. Our correspondent sent us this report from an immigrant neighbourhood in Rabat.
Behind these gates at Rabat Central Bus Station, a young migrant from Senegal was knifed to death on August 12. He lived in this poor neighborhood of the Moroccan capital. Here, like in many other Moroccan cities and towns, migrants hailing from sub-Saharan Africa face daily acts of violence.
I went out to buy something, so I saw three guys, three Moroccans, and they attacked me with a knife. They took my phone and some of my money.
Kingsley told us he felt lucky as he only suffered superficial knife wounds, but he said racism was rampant.
We are facing a lot of racism here in Morocco. They don't like we blacks. We don't have right for many things. You can't sit, you can't talk to a woman. You cannot talk to a woman. It's not allowed here in Morocco. They don't give out job to black people. Even if you have the qualification, even you are capable of doing the job, they can't give the job to you because you're a black man here in Morocco.
His outrage over constant discrimination is shared by many other migrants.
They call us monkeys when we were all equals. We have the same red blood flowing in our veins. Even women spit when we walk by.
For local anti-racist groups, Moroccans tend to openly abuse black Africans due to the government's discriminatory treatment of migrants.
You're in a country where the government very much targets black, sub-Saharan, illegal immigrants, down to the very words used to describe them. Immigrants are always linked to prostitution, AIDS, drugs and human trafficking. I think this plays an important role. Institutional racism influences the local population.
Faced with increasing racist attacks, some migrants, illegal or not, are now thinking of returning home, even at the cost of feeling ashamed over their failure to make it abroad.
For many decades, many African countries have seen some of their best and brightest lured abroad by the perception that that was a surefire way to make the most financially of their skills. But with Europe struggling under the burden of austerity and the US also suffering its economic woes, more and more expats and people of African origin are returning to the continent in the hope of making their fortune there. Our Nicholas Jamal sent us this report from Nigeria.
Lured by Lagos's 7% economic growth rate, more and more Nigerians living abroad are heading home. They are known as the repats. Their arrival in Lagos is one of the reasons the city now has some 20 million inhabitants. Ihime Aigbe is a repat. She used to be a top banker in Dallas. Then 2 years ago, she settled in Lagos and launched a chain of shops selling frozen yogurts, a product you couldn't find here before.
When I came, I realized that there was opportunities here, a lot more opportunities than you can get in America, because I feel like here is more underdeveloped and there's so many business opportunities. I have a friend who moved back and started a cleaning business. I have a friend who moved back and he has like an AC company.
Ihime thinks repats will not only boost Nigeria's economy but also change mentalities and politics.
I believe that there are more people like me who have certain ideas and ideals and are not really going to allow for a lot of things that have happened in the past to keep happening.
Tola Akirele is a veteran repat who left the UK a decade ago. This interior designer and hotel manager has witnessed a surge in repats these last 3 years following the economic downturn in the West.
A lot of people are looking to Nigeria because of the opportunities here. But I think we need to sort ourselves out, and the government needs to kind of realise that actually we have a great opportunity to do great things and lead Africa even. But we need to focus on our people.
Both Ihime and Tola say the major problem here for businesses are the frequent power cuts and the need for expensive generators. But despite these shortcomings, it's difficult to find an African city more optimistic than Lagos.
That wraps up African news from me for now, Kat, but I will be back in an hour with more.
Lovely, thanks very much. Georgia Calvin-Smith there. And that's also it from me here on Live from Paris. But do stay with us, because coming up, we've got all the latest on all of our top stories, including whether or not evidence of a chemical attack in Syria has yet been found. Do stay tuned.